After 10 years, the next avatar is finally here. Following the cycle, with Korra being from the Water Tribe, Avatar 7 Havens introduces us to Harvey from the Earth Kingdom. Well, in this timeline, there isn't much to the Four Nations, rather the world building Aang paved out. And what we saw in the Legend of Korra has sadly fractured following a devastating cataclysmic event which forced humanity to seek refuge in 7 major havens. You know, large fortified strongholds similar to Ba Sing Se or Republic City. These havens arose as sanctuaries in the aftermath of the disaster that reshaped the entire world. Beyond their borders lies a perilous, uninhabitable expanse, setting the stage for a story of survival and struggle in the divided world, where at a young age of 9, our little earth-bending avatar has to navigate through it all. What makes things even worse is that the title of Avatar no longer holds its heroic merit, rather quite the opposite, because this world's catastrophe is somehow linked back to the Avatar itself. Yeah, I know we're all thinking it. Korra, what did you do? Throughout Korra's journey, we all felt conflicted with her character. Like, being Aang's successor wasn't easy. My boy was a genius, saved the world, united the nations. Pretty much legendary, right? However, to her credit, the challenges that Korra overcame wasn't a joke either. As much as I didn't like Korra's personality or her wishy-washy love stories, like one minute it's Bolin, then Marco, she's single, back to Marco, then confused, suddenly
I'm gay.
oh my god, I'm gonna get cancelled. But hey, she did do something that no avatar had done previously.
I can airbend!
No, I'm talking about severing the past avatar connections. And literally undoing the separation between spirits and humans that was keeping everyone safe for thousands of years. Okay, the first one wasn't her fault, but the latter literally seemed like a recipe for disaster. Hey, I'm not saying that Korra caused this worldwide catastrophe, but let's be honest, indirectly she probably could have, especially because in a podcast episode with the co-writer Michael Dante DiMartino, he stated that everything will be connected back to Korra, pointing out how each avatar had to deal with the ramifications of what the previous avatar did. Obviously, the major takeaway from Korra's time that had long-lasting effects on the world was of course leaving the portals open to the spirit realm. In turn, Kuvera was able to gain access to a near nuke-like weapon, causing ridiculous amount of damage, all by utilizing the spirit vines and tapping into its destructive energy. And even though we hadn't seen the full repercussions, not all spirits in the spirit realm are good. We know this with Ko, the face stealer, and many other accounts the previous avatar had. In fact, this reality is showcased later in the official comics, where once Korra and Asami returned from their little spirit world journey, they discovered that the newly created spirit portal had become the center of an intense conflict. It all started when one Yongkyum, a wealthy landowner, laid a legal claim to the area, arguing that it had belonged to him. You know, you can't really blame the guy, because if a random portal to a spirit realm appeared in your backyard, what are you gonna do? You gonna give it away for free? Come on. But you know, the newly created air nations opposed him, asserting that the portal had become a sacred spiritual site that should be protected rather than exploited. As tension rose, the dragon eel spirit appeared before Korra, warning her that the existence of the new portal would only lead to escalating conflicts between humans and spirits. It urged her to close the portal before more damage was done, insisting that it was never meant to exist and had only made the spirit world vulnerable to human greed. Korra, however, instead of looking for inner wisdom, questioned why the spirit was suddenly interested in human affairs, pointing out that they had refused to intervene when Kuvera's invasion had threatened Republic City. The dragon eel spirit then has to point out the obvious. With a portal now standing in the heart of the metropolis, they now have no choice but to protect their own kind. When Korra refused to close it, arguing that this new spiritual energy could foster harmony among the city inhabitants, the spirit reluctantly retreats. However, before leaving, it issued a stern warning. If anything happened to the portal, it would hold Korra personally responsible, which seems like a foreshadowing to the devastating events we will see throughout Harvey's journey. However, at that time, things got so bad that despite Korra's attempts to mediate, the situation spiraled out of control, to the point a brawl broke out between various spirits and members of the triple threat triad who had been hired to enforce the landowner's claim. When the triad launched an assault on the Air Nation and Team Avatar, who were defending the portal, the dragon eel spirit returned, this time accompanied by his gang of several other spirits, many of whom had turned dark. The dragon eel commanded the spirits to protect the portal, prompting them to lash out violently against the triad. As the battle escalated, Korra confronted the dragon eel spirit, pleading for it to call off the attack, but the spirit refused, just like Korra's dumb when she refused to close the portal, accusing her of failing in her duties to protect the portal. Its anger only grew when Korra warned that their aggression would only worsen the conflict. Dismissing her words, the dragon eel spirit declared that it was humans who had initiated the violence, and now one of them had to pay. Consumed by rage, the spirit darkened and turned its attention to the triad's leader, Tokuga, who attempted to fight back by hurling 3 knives at the spirit. The blades, however, passed straight through its ethereal form. In response, the dragon eel spirit struck, knocking Tokuga to the ground. Staring down at him, it declared that he would have to live with the consequence of disturbing the portal. With one final charge, the spirit passed through him once more, permanently warping his appearance, horribly disfiguring him with monstrous features that reflected his corruption and greed. Satisfied with his vengeance, the dragon eel spirit regained its usual form and got back to the spirit world, ordering the other spirits to follow. Following the battle, Korra, along with several airbenders, decided to venture through the portal to assess the state of the spirit world. To their dismay, they found that the portal, once brimming with life and energy, had become corrupted and decayed. The spirits, deeply disillusioned by the ongoing disputes with the humans, had abandoned the site entirely. As they explored, Iki curiously reached out to touch one of the wedded spirit wines, triggering an aggressive reaction. The vines came to life, lashing out at the group. Korra quickly took action, using her firebending to fend off the attack, whilst the group scrambled to escape back through the portal. Upon returning to the physical world, they were met with an unsettling sight. The united force had begun a full-scale occupation of the land surrounding the portal. Their presence, intended, as a measure of control, only further inflamed tension. Korra, recognizing the dangerous implication, confronted President Raiko and implored him to withdraw his troops before the spirits retaliated. However, Raiko was like, nah fam, this is my shit now, yeah? You are stupid, you dumb.
You're trash, kid.
Frustrated yet determined, Korra refused to back down and vowed to find another way to resolve the situation. The conflict continued though, as Korra engaged in several confrontations with Tokuga, who, despite his horrific transformation, remained a formidable threat. In a series of battles, he managed to evade capture, proving himself to be a cunning yet dangerous adversary. However, as the situation unfolded, the owner, who had initially been adamant about his claim to the land, had, a change of heart. I would too. I'd be like, bun this, I'm not gonna be doing this anymore.
When does it get better? I'm so tired.
But in reality, he only done this after Korra saved his life during a confrontation, and he decided to relinquish his claims to the portal altogether, acknowledging that it was not meant for human exploitation. Weeks later though, Korra witnessed a significant political shift, as our girl Zhu Li was elected as the new president, replacing Raiko. In one of her first major decisions, she officially granted the land surrounding the portals to the Air Nation, ensuring its protection as a spiritual sanctuary. This supposedly marked a turning point, symbolizing hope for a more harmonious balance between humans and spirits. However, the comics don't really conclude on the permanent solution to Korra's actions of leaving the portal open, and I'm guessing, just like we all predicted, it ends up contributing to the current world catastrophe. This brings us to Korra's death and rebirth. Sadly, Harvey's reincarnation as the Avatar seems like a nightmare. This kid kid is on the run, being hunted by humans and spirit enemies alike, lost a freaking leg, and was separated from her twin sister very early on. Yep, the Avatar is a twin. Now, this could also be linked to the negative perception and blame of the world's devastation, as in some traditional Asian belief systems, twins were thought to be a bad omen, being unnatural or a result of divine punishment. This was because they saw twins as a sign of imbalance, as many traditional philosophies, yin-yang, emphasizes harmony, and twins, especially identical ones, might have been perceived as a disruption of natural balance. Now, so far, it's speculated that Harvey is the lone avatar, but there's rumors that her twin was taken and raised by the White Lotus, giving us the idea that they both might be part of the avatar cycle. Considering Rava is one entity, I don't see how that will be possible. Unless Vaatu? Yep, if you guys forgot, once Korra defeated Vaatu, it receded within Rava, becoming part of her. So technically, he is part of the avatar cycle too. However, when the writers were questioned if his presence affected Korra, they stated currently he is too weak to do anything, but in 10,000 years, the avatar will definitely face some problems. However, what if the portals being opened and the world's devastation is linked to Vaatu prematurely regaining his powers back? The avatar's reincarnation might have split to oversee both spirits or something alike. In fact, some speculate that this series will delve into a light was dark theme, offering a fresh take to the duality of Rava and Vaatu, with a more intricate yin-yang dynamic. Or who knows, maybe losing a leg deemed Harvey unfit and useless, and her sister was mistaken to be the avatar, much like Kyoshi's story. Hence, whilst her sister Nisha has been raised by the White Lotus with resources and abundance, Harvey grows up in a starkly different environment. This contrast in upbringing sets the foundation for a gripping narrative, highlighting the differences between the twins' experiences and the forces that shapes their destiny. Their separation sparks the question about fate, and as the story unfolds, their divergent paths are bound to intersect. Either way, at 9 years old, Harvey and her twin Nisha are younger than Korra and Aang were in their respective series, so more than likely we won't be delving too deep into overly complicated love stories like we saw with Korra. Rather, Harvey's story will be that of struggle and self-redemption. Rejected by society, she survives on the streets of a thriving haven, relying on her loyal animal companion Geet, a cat-monkey hybrid. But keeping true to the Avatar trio dynamic, Harvey seems to be met by an older character named Jay and a possible mentor figure, Captain Karthik, where together these three are going to be our new team Avatar. Whilst the world has evolved dramatically, the core themes of found family and teamwork are likely to remain central, providing a sense of continuity. And though the four nations have dissolved, their cultural legacy endures. Benders are still present, and densely populated havens ensure that the traditions tied to these elements persist. And honestly, the dissolution of the four nations isn't entirely surprising. The Legend of Korra hinted at this societal evolution, with Republic City symbolizing a move beyond rigid nationalism. Cities like Zaofu further reinforce this idea of unity through shared ability rather than geographical borders. But with how things seems, these seven havens might be something just out of Fallout, being safety zones protecting everyone from the greater danger of whatever is out there in the open. All in all, if two avatars are needed to fight this threat, then this primary antagonist ain't a joke. And with 26 episodes running approximately 22 minutes each, Seven Havens is the longest first season in Avatar history. In comparison, The Last Airbender had around 20 episodes per season, whilst The Legend of Korra followed a shorter 12-episode structure. This extended format could allow for more in-depth storytelling, richer world building, and deeper character development. Given the protagonist's youth, the series has the potential for multiple seasons, exploring their growth and evolving personalities over time. We might even see Harvey becoming a teenager throughout her journey. But most importantly, we have to remember that Harvey, courtesy of Korra, does not have all of the past avatars to guide her. Harvey is pretty much alone with no help. But knowing that the world has advanced bending altogether with the introduction of energy bending, metal bending, and all these sorts of bendings, Harvey might just be set out to be the strongest avatar in history. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to smash the like button. And if you want more peak fiction, watch this next.